Indonesia and Australia. Apart from that, we already have a sales office in Vietnam. Then also we have a big presence in Indonesia and also Thailand. So basically in Asia, our footprint is across Asia in almost all leading countries. And for rest of the world, we do have a presence also in the same way. But mainly when it comes to the seed industry, then I think USA and Europe are the major markets outside of Asia, and that's where we begin our business. So our presence is very strong in those developed markets. As a portfolio, we deal with this kind of different 7 technologies, platforms, and basically each of the platform we do have a R&D capabilities, and we also have a products available to serve to the local markets. I think being a student of agriculture, and again, this seminar is being conducted by Seed Science and Technology Department. So I'm not going to detail it down because my couple of slides are already around these technologies. But these are the hardcore technologies across, seed technology courses. And I think there is a lot of values which we can add on the seed through different platforms. So here in India, basically, we also deal with all these platforms, and we try to deliver a good solutions to the seed company and ultimately to the farmers using these seed technologies. Now, coming back to the subject where, why there is a need to design the seeds, because, it's an obvious question, why we should do all this development and innovations. And one of the most important reason is, it's a 7 billion people we need to feed currently. And this 7 billion people is going to reach 9 billion people by 2050. So that means almost, what food productions we did so far in the country or in the world, that need to be developed in 30 years. Basically, this, journey started 100 years back. Where research and innovation started happening in agriculture to increase the food production and to bring the food sufficiency. So in 100 years, whatever we have produced, that's same amount of foods we need to produce another 30 years as a double, and that's why there is a challenge. Since we are not going to get 100 years now, there is a tremendous pressure because of increasing population, and again, another 30 years will be a challenging years due to climate change scenario, and also the scenario of decreasing land and decreasing other resources by nature. So under these scenarios, we have to, crack the ice, and we have to bring this target of doubling our food production so that we can avoid starvation in the world. And that's why there is a tremendous pressure to bring a new technology and sustainable innovations in agriculture. Also, if you look at the global situation and recent trend of the consumers, then it's very clear that there is an increasing demand for more luxurious foods and more nutritive foods. And especially after COVID-19 outbreak, I think the awareness is quite high in the consumer mind for eating more nutritive foods. And that will put an immense pressure on agriculture to bring and produce more quality foods for the consumer and the growing population. And this is, again, under the scenario of increasing urbanizations, which will create a limit in our availability of land resource and also the water. And as I said, climate change is another challenge. It's happening across the globe. No one can escape of climate change. So under these all challenges, we have to achieve what consumer needs. And that's why technology innovation is needed. If you sum up all the situation which is happening around us now, then one common formula coming up is more from less. And this tagline we have to keep in mind, because we have to produce more food, we have to produce better quality, better nutritional value, but all this development we have to do under less situation, so less inputs in agriculture basically. So which may bring a very minimal use of plant protection product, that which includes pesticide and fungicides. Also the fertilizer and the waters need to be controlled so we can produce more healthy and good quality foods. Also, agriculture soils are decreasing because of increasing urbanizations, and that's also creating a pressure. And I think in the recent days, all of you must have heard about shortage of coals and crisis in energy, and that's going to continue happen with increasing industrial growth and also increasing use of all electronic gadgets. So I think under less energy also we have to achieve our targets, and at the same time we have to keep in mind the healthy environment, so less carbon footprints. So ultimately we have to produce more and better quality with a less resource, and that's really trigger up innovation need in the agriculture. So I think the background why we need to do all this development around seed is very clear, and this is again I think repeating couple of points. One more points I would like to highlight is the specific problem specific approach. If you look at agriculture, it's quite diverse, and every region has a different challenge. So there is a need to develop a tailor-made solution for each specific region. Like in Gujarat, we have a different challenge, and I think in Kerala, you have a different challenge. So under these situations, we have to fine-tune new technology which can fit into the local agroclimatic situation and which can deliver a good solution. So overall, there is a tremendous need for new development, and that's why there is a need to work around the seed in terms of designing the seeds. Now, when you think about seed, I think everyone thinks about DNA and the embryo present inside the seeds. So that's true. Seed is a dormant embryo, and you can influence this DNA part a lot through breeding techniques, and nowadays biotechnology platforms and a lot of tools are available. So genetically designed is one approach, and I think already all private sector company and government is investing a huge amount in genetical designing of the seeds, and that's where they are trying to bring good genes into one genome, so that they can breed a new variety or new hybrids. So genetically designs is a one approach, and then second is the physically design. Now physically design is all about not touching DNA, but then to influence rest of the part of the seeds. And there are many ways you can influence the quality of seeds through physically design. Let's see what are those physically designed. So this slides basically gives you what you can do in genetically design. So it's basically all different breeding techniques, which are traditional technique, I would say, because nowadays GMOs are getting popular. That's a one. Secondly, gene editing, you must have heard. So gene editing is also upcoming, fastest technique to breed the new varieties, and that's making life very easy. And by this, all different platforms, you can bring good quality seeds, or I would say the seeds which fits into the climate change on a very fast track. But that's I would say it's a hardcore different research on breeding aspects. And when it comes to physically design of the seeds, then there are different techniques available in seed technology, which is mainly coating, pelleting, encrusting, priming, upgrading. So when you look at all these different platforms, then it's all about influencing the seed and seed related qualities. So let's see how we can influence physically the seed, and how can we design the seeds which fits into the changing climate. So when you think physically design seeds, then there are two different approach. One is the external designing, and second is internal designing. Now in external designing, it's all about, I would say, physical appearance of the seeds and also the physical form of the seeds. And that can be influenced by seed coating, seed encrusting, pelleting, also by putting additive and active. And also there are many sorting techniques available nowadays, maybe color based on color or size or a shape, image-based analysis. So these are all external designing possible through different techniques. And when you think about internal designing of the seeds, then it's mainly through priming and also, sorting out the good quality embryos through upgrading techniques, basically. So when you look at inside the seeds, then also there is a lot of possibilities to improve the seed quality. And you can really influence the embryo through priming technique and also through upgrading. So I'm going to explain you each of this platform through a one single slide for a better idea. One of the first is, film coating. So when you think about film coating, on a first instant, it looks very nice because of the cosmetic appearance. And that's true. Seed also needs a good marketing tools. And that's why many companies have a very special image of choosing a very special color on their seeds, so that farmers can remember those identity. But the scientific value of this film coating is very unique, because so far in most of the universities in India, I think recommendations are done for powder treatment or slurry treatment. Now, water slurry treatment and powder treatments are very traditional way of treating the seeds. If you have to do it a bit more modern and more safer and more scientific, then the film coating comes in a picture, where you can apply target molecule on a seed using certain water-soluble polymers on the seed directly. And it's a very thin layer on the seed surface. So those molecules stays to the thin layer till the time seed is germinating. And as soon as seeds start germinating, those applied active ingredients will start releasing from the thin layer. And it will be available to growing roots and the shoots. So by this way, you can really influence very efficiently the growing seeds. And this is the more scientific approach, because film coating you cannot do in a normal way. You really need a good infrastructure setup if you really want to achieve scientific value of film coating. So there are seed coating machines available. There are different grades of polymers available. And for each of the seed, based on the 1,000 seed weight and the seed size and shape, basically you need to standardize the recipe for coating. And then you can achieve your objective of seed treatments. And the major benefit of film coating is after the treatment, if your treatment is really done in a scientific way, then there won't be any dust off. So your seed will be completely free from dust. And by this way, you can control the pollution of applied fungicide or pesticide in the environment. It will be completely safe. Even Indian farmers are normally doing sowing by hand. So in that situation, nothing will stick to the hand. And everything which you applied on the processing plant on the seed will go to the soil directly without losing during transport, packing, even handling of the seeds. So film coating is the most easiest to do and also most cost effective, I would say, because your applied molecules will be efficiently utilized on each and every seeds. After doing a thin layer on the seed, sometimes on some of the seed species, you really need to build a lot, because those seeds are either completely tiny or sometimes irregular in shape, sometimes irregular in size, and that's creating a lot of trouble in sowing. So these two platforms, encrusting and pelleting, comes in a picture when there is a need to increase the size and improve the shape of the seeds. For your mechanical sowing purpose, then encrusting and pelleting is one of the available platform. And also, if you think there is a need to put more amount of active ingredients per seed, so far, I think in academy, we have studied per kilogram recommendation dose. But now, if you really think every seed performs, and every seed counts, and every seed turned into a healthy plant, then we have to start thinking on a single seed based dose and not on a per kilo based dose, because every kilo of seed might not be having the same number of seed and might not be having the same number of seed surface. It keeps varying a lot based on 1,000 seed weight. So basically your all active ingredients need to be standardized based on single seed availability of active ingredients, whether it's biologicals or fungicide or pesticides. So when you really want to load more amount of pesticide and fungicide on a single seed, then encrusting and pelleting is the only technique to improve the stress on seed surface. And through this platform, you can really load a lot on a single seed. And this will help for real sustainable agriculture, because then that seed doesn't need much of the care post germination. So there are a couple of benefits. One, your sowing is possible through mechanized drills once it is encrusted and pelleted. Secondly, single seed will be getting a lot of active ingredients. Third, encrusted and pelleted seeds where you can do and singularize planting. So there won't be any thinning requirement, and there won't be also any dense planting. So at the end, you will be able to save the seed rate per acre, and this will bring a lot of precision into farming. So these are the major benefits coming from encrusting and pelleting. And basically in India, encrusting is being done in onion seeds mainly in a large volume, because onion seeds needs a transplanting after nursery, and transplanting is a very laborious process. And nowadays it's getting expensive too. So direct sowing of onion is only possible when it's encrusted seeds. And through this method, you can save the labor cost of transplanting. And also crop will get a bit early because of direct planting. Pelleting is also common here and popular here in the hot pepper mainly, because that's the major, vegetable crops being grown in India. No doubt, tomato also have a pelleting, but mainly in the nursery, if you think to produce a few million plants, then you cannot plant one seed one by one, and you really need a mechanized sowing equipment, and that's where pelleting comes in a picture. So this is, film coating, encrusting, and pelleting is all about applying your active ingredients on a single seed, and also at the same time influence the seed size and shape, and also the weight of the seeds. Now the priming, which is a very dream technology for any seed technologies, because here you directly influence the embryo. I think being an agriculture student, you all must be knowing any given seed lots, every seed will be having a different birth date. And the reason for different birth date is the pollination never happens at the same time. Pollination period is, let's start from 1 week to 2 weeks, sometime in some crops even up to 4 weeks. That means every seeds being harvested from a single plant will be having a different birth date as per the pollination timing. And this directly influences the quality of embryo within the seed. So in any seed lot, basically you will find 3 different kind of embryo. One will be immature embryo, second will be mature embryo, and third will be over-mature embryo. So because of this difference among the embryos in a single seed lot, those seeds never germinate at the same time. And when you plant those seeds in the soil, it germinates step by step. And that affects all the agriculture operation later on. Agronomical practices will not be possible if the seeds are germinating at a too big gap. And many times some seeds have very huge dormancy issues. Then sometimes seeds are very sensitive to temperature before they germinate. So all these challenges and issues can be resolved through priming. Once the seeds are primed, then all embryos will be having almost equal physiological maturity. And then those embryos will be ready to start rooting and shooting as soon as they get a favorable condition. So prime seeds are having a very robust and very unique characteristic of germinating under any unfavorable condition. For example, now winter is going to start. Under this situation, if someone has to plant any tropical crops, for example, watermelon, then it's very difficult to germinate. But if the seeds are prime, it can germinate even under a low temperature. And it's in another way around, if it's a summer and someone wants to plant any temperate crop and germination is a challenge because of high temperature, then again priming play a vital role. Prime seeds can germinate under any condition of temperature. So major benefit from this technology is mainly, to bring high level of uniformity in a seed lot in germination, reduce the germination timing. As a thumb rule, I can say at least 50% of germination timing you can reduce. So if any seed is taking, let's say, 10 days to germinate, after priming, it may germinate on a 5th day. And third, the vigor improvement will be too high. And that's why seed can survive under any unfavorable condition. So changing climate is a big challenge. And under these scenarios, I think if seeds are prime, then it's more assured and there will be less chance of failure of the germination. And right now it's getting more popular among vegetables. And here, based in Gujarat, we have made technology development for cumin. If you know this crop, cumin, it took normally 3 to 4 weeks to germinate. So any seed which takes extra time to germinate, I think priming is the good solution to shorten the germination time. So after priming, this cumin seed is able to germinate on the 10th day. In a normal scenario, it takes 21 to 25 days. So, when you think about 15 days saving in germination, that means you have a less number of irrigation required in the field. And it's a big saving to the farmers. So priming has a multiple role to play, and I think under Indian agriculture and under Indian agroclimatic situation, this technology will bring a lot of revolution. And we are pushing this technology in solanaceous crops and also, a crop like cumin, where I think it's a big challenge to germinate the seeds. But practically this technology can be rolled down on any given crops where you see the issue of dormancy or slow germination. Then I think the priming is the only solution. Now, upgrading is another platform within the seed technology where you try to remove the bad quality seeds from any given lots. So when you remove the bad quality seeds, then automatically the good quality seeds will increase in the seed lot, and the quality of the seed lots will go up. So this technology is quite common in the seed sector, and many companies are using such platforms to upgrade the seed quality from low level to higher level. And there are different ways to do it. I have mentioned few of them. Chlorophyll-based sorters are available in the markets. Liquid density separation, which is possible by water, but also there are some solvents available through which we can literally separate lowest density to highest density. And there is a direct positive correlation between density and the seed germination. So if you know which density is good for which crop, I think this liquid-based density will help you to separate the seeds from bad quality to good quality, and you can upgrade the quality of seeds. And then there is X-ray-based image sorters, which is again looking inside the embryo and checking whether that embryo is good or bad. And then, at the end, you only get the good quality embryo in the seed lot, and all the bad embryo will be rejected. So couple of latest technologies are available, and apart from that, through mechanical separation, you can do upgrading also. That's also possible, and it's quite common in Indian seed industry using gravity separators. So this technology is on a day-to-day basis being used, but there are a lot of innovation happening, and I think this platform is also very useful since seed is a very valuable inventory and there is a shelf-life issue. So if any seed lot which is deteriorating by germination, deteriorating by shelf-life, then you can apply such technology platform to upgrade the quality of seed lots. Seed hygiene is another area where I think a lot of things need to be done in order to make the seed completely free from microbes. Seed-borne pathogens are quite common in many crops. And depending on the production area, depending on the climate situation, many times it happens in nature. And then before you really process, clean, and pack the seeds, you need to do seed hygiene test, and you need to adopt certain treatment so that your applied, seeds or whatever seeds you are processing and cleaning is completely free from those pathogens. And there are different methods available, like chemical treatments, radiation treatment, hot water, dry air, hot humid air treatment. This is the new one and quite sustainable. I think if you want to understand thermoseed more, which is a very unique technology to make the seeds completely free from pathogens. You may Google as a thermoseed and you will understand how the machine works and how the technology works. And it's being used on a large scale in wheat in the Europe. So in India, basically, the regulations are silent on a seed hygiene test. And as such, we are not adopting much of the technology for seed hygiene except chemical treatment. But I think in days to come, there is a tremendous pressure on exporters, those who are exporting seeds from India. There are regulations set by importing country, and you have to meet those standards. And that's where I think the seed hygiene comes in a picture. And then you really need different techniques, because while disinfecting the microbes from the seed, you have to make sure that the basic quality of seed is not getting affected. Embryos still remain with the same quality, and at the same time you remove those microbes. And that's why you need a very good trick, and I would say technology, to make the seeds completely free from those microbes. This is a seventh platform of applying active, additive, and biologicals. Now, this is also a very interesting platform, and it's, I would say, gray area, since a lot of research has been happened in the past in universities, but that was mainly around chemicals. But nowadays, I think a couple of universities have started looking at, what influence will happen to the seed if you put some biological on seeds, if you put some plant extract, you put some plant hormones on the seed, then how it's going to affect the root and shoot growth. So this application of different actives or different chemistry on a seed is again a science, because it's not so easy to apply on a seed. because number of seeds will be varying a lot to lot, and also variety to variety, and you have to be very precise and very accurate in loading those chemical on the seeds. And at the same time, you have to keep in mind the shelf life of the seeds, and also the quality of seeds should not get deteriorate after application. And that's where I think technology comes in the picture. So what I explained earlier, film coating, encrusting, pelleting, these are the three different platforms through which I think you can do a lot of application around the seed surface. And here in a small image, you can see the seed is in the middle, and then there are different round layers which will be, covering up the seeds with different inert matter and also the active chemistry, so that seed will be loaded with everything around it. And then that seed will be self-sufficient to fight against all kinds of different challenges when germination starts. So depending on the need of the crop and the need of the variety, you have to choose the right molecule, and that's very much possible to apply on the seed in a safest way through this different technology platform, seed coating and pelleting and encrusting. And nowadays, I think nutrients are getting more into the focus, because there is a movement by government of India also to control the use of fertilizer. So in this scenario, as I said in the beginning of this presentation, more from less. So in this scenario, if you really want to control the use of fertilizer, then you have to load those nutrients around the seed, so that you can eliminate the basal application of fertilizer, you can eliminate the soil application of fertilizer. Let's try to load more nutrients around the seed itself, so that it can be efficiently utilized, and we can avoid the waste of fertilizer in the soil. So this is a very interesting platform, and a lot of research needs to be done. And many private companies have already started making their own, chemistry and own nutrient solutions, which can influence their variety very well, and they can make some difference in the market. So this is the concluding slides on all these different platforms. Here you can see how different platforms, which I explained you, can influence the seed. In the middle, you can see the lettuce seed, and then lettuce seed is in the pellet actually. So round green is a pellet; it's a cut pellet image. And the meaning of this slide is that nowadays different technology are available, and those technology can be bombarded on a single seed, and you can influence the quality of seeds. So it includes everything. I'm not going to detail in discussion, but I just explain all these different platforms, and it has a direct value addition on the seeds. So before you design the seed, you really need to understand the strategy. And if you have chosen the right strategy, then I think you will get a success in designing your seeds. And for that, the research starts from the market. You really need to go till the farmers. You really need to go to the dealer and distributors to understand what exactly is the challenge being faced by the farmers. Because farmers will tell you a lot of pain when you visit them. Sometimes they will say, okay, they really don't get a good seed drill. They are not able to maintain the plant populations. There is a lot of mortality in the field. There is a lot of challenge in germinating the seeds. There is a dormancy problem. There are some disease and pest problems soon after germination. So all these problems really need a good understanding at our level first, and then we have to start thinking on designing a solution. So which basically comes to the research area as a second part, and then you have to think innovatively to bring a good ideas and to convert those ideas into a research and then final efficient and effective solution. As I said, identifying grower and market need is very important, and without that, if you do any research, those research will be useless. So any research you start, that has to be with very clear objective and very clear goals, and then only you can make it, commercially successful. So I already mentioned there are multiple issues being faced by farmers, and here you can read those issues maybe related to disease and sowing challenges, germination challenges, also sometimes agronomical challenges. So these all problems need to be understood before we start developing any solution. And then we have to start focusing on research area. This slides is giving you an idea how different platform of technology can help to solve certain issues of the growers. So this is just for your information, that how different seed technology platform can solve the problem of farmers. And for example, if farmers are looking for a better uniform germination, early harvest, they don't want to use more irrigation. Then here you can see priming comes in picture. Priming can solve those problems. So we have to identify the solution based on the technology and the need of the farmers. Now let's talk about some innovative ideas. Basically, seed technology is full of a lot of innovation, and there are a lot of research happening across the globe. Here I am trying to quote some of the ideas which might not be in your curriculum, and that's why I put into these slides. So basically, in a specialty film coat liquids for coating. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, film coating is a very simple and easy, but nowadays a lot of research happening in seed coating polymers. There are a lot of trends going on: organic polymers, microplastic-free polymers, and the polymers with extra slow release mechanisms, because you apply some molecules which is needed by the seed after 30 days or 40 days. Then you have to develop a polymer film which is extremely slow in release. So around polymer science you can develop a lot, and you can really bring a specialty functional film coats in the markets. So, and apart from that, the polymers with inbuilt certain nutrients or plant growth regulators, which will be interesting for this market. So GS Coat is one of our trademark, where we have developed some polymers with inbuilt plant growth regulators, and that influence the initial germination and vigor of the seeds. Then there is a technology called Pollinator Plus. You can Google it. You will come to know how this Pollinator Plus works, and it's mainly for seed production technology. Because in the seed production, basically a lot of challenges of male flower and female flower synchronization. And then through seed technology, you can bring synchronization. So this Polymer Plus technology is quite popular in corn in the USA. You can get more details on the internet. Then there are smart pellets, Sanocut. Basically, different kind of pellets are available based on the seed need. Because when you develop seed technology solution, then I think seed physiology comes in a picture, and based on the seed species requirement, you have to choose the right quality pellets. For example, here I mentioned Splash and Grow. So it's a fast melting pellets. As soon as it comes in touch with the water, the outer pellets get dissolved, and seed will get exposed to the moisture directly. And sometimes seed needs a lot of light to germinate. So in that case, Splash and Grow will be the right pellet type. Sometimes seed doesn't need light to germinate. Then I think the split pill will be the best one. So based on the need of the seeds, you can develop a new idea and new way of developing the product forms, and that will offer you the best possible solution. I think I have explained this earlier, so I'm not going to repeat this. For seed disinfection, also I explained thermoseed, which is one of the most sustainable solution. Without any chemical, you can disinfect the seeds. How? Then seed has a pathogen on its surface, or maybe inside the surface of the seed pod. Then those pathogens can be killed using certain temperature and the moisture level. And if you know what is the killing temperature and you bring it very precisely, then you can kill those pathogens. But at the same time, you have to keep in mind you don't kill embryo. So thermoseed comes in a picture. It's a highly automatic system developed as a hot humid air, and it's controlling the temperature very precisely without damaging the seed. It's killing all the pathogen and no use of chemical. So this kind of technology platforms are quite innovative, and it can bring a lot of revolution. Then X-ray sorting. Basically, nowadays, soft X-ray is very common, and you can see inside the seed how endosperm looks, how embryo looks, and multiple data points you can see. So this X-ray sorting was developed a couple of years back, and it's commercially available now. So what you sell in the market is not a seed, but what you sell in the market is an embryo. And if your embryo is good, then automatically it will give a birth to healthy seedlings. So this X-ray sorting is all about, catching the embryo image of single seed, and then computer will screen that embryo is good or bad, and then further sorting system will reject or accept the seeds. So this is a very innovative technology to avoid any seed lots from extremely poor quality to extremely high quality, and you can really challenge to the farmers for a 99% germination or 98% germination depending on the market needs, and that's very much possible. This is just to give you an idea how embryo looks like. and it's extremely fast process now thanks to IT sector and fast algorithms available through supercomputers. So you can process in a fraction of a second multiple seed image, and you can decide whether it's good or bad. And based on that, you can sort commercially a large volume of seeds. Liquid density separation, the machine, how it looks like, I already explained how you can separate the seeds based on density difference. And this machine is working on a highly, precise density separation. And if you know which density is good and which density is bad for the seed, then you can upgrade the seed lots. This is again just to give you a broad idea how you can bring, the new kind of product form in the market. If you really put everything around the seed, then definitely the genetics will perform much better, much different than the regular seeds. So by putting a lot of things on a seed, also you can influence the quality of seeds. This is just to give you an idea how it looks like, raw seeds and the pelleted forms, and how it can influence the sowing systems. So as I said, a lot of things you can do around the seeds. Here you can see nanonutrients, biological, plant growth regulator, fungicide, insecticides. These are the broad terminologies, but within the nanonutrients, there are a lot of possibilities of micronutrients. And nowadays, I think nanourea, which is the nitrogen, is a major component for any plant growth. That's also available in nanoforms. So very effective solutions are available. But then the question is how to put all this chemistry on a seed in the most safest way, so that we don't influence the shelf life of the seeds and we don't influence the basic quality of seeds. And that's where I think the research is required. Just to give you an idea how encrusted seed looks like, because here you can see the black onion seed and the white onion seeds, which is the encrusted one. And in encrusting, you can increase the weight from 0.5 times to 2 times and even up to 3 times. And then seed really become heavy in weight, and that's why you can reduce the seed rate per acre. And you can, by bringing the better size, you can control the seed rate very well, and mechanical sowing will be possible. So this is all about, the today's topic, and I think I'm in a very much time to present the topic. And let me stop my presentation here, so that I can see the chat box, because I'm not able to see the chat box while presenting here. So that's the end of my presentation, and maybe I can request to open up the interaction session now. Thank you. I think if there is a time, then I would like to show this video.
Please, sir, please show the video, sir.
Okay, let's say it's a 2-3 minutes video, just to give you an idea about what, seed enhancement company can do. Sorry, something went wrong. Can you see the video?
No.
No, sir.
Not yet.
Okay. Once again, let me do. Can you now?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. I think I... Just a minute. Yeah, now I think it will happen.
Getting started.
Growth. It might seem easy, but it's not. Although the quality of seed is continuously improving, it takes time, energy, creativity, and innovation to overcome the many challenges. A growing population, decreasing agricultural land, plagues, and changing climate conditions. This is where we come in, Incotech. We support through seed enhancement and seed treatment. We are a group of researchers, developers, engineers, engineers, advisors, and craftsmen working on the best seed possible. We are part of PRODA, the name behind brands and branches like beauty, healthcare, and crop care. Our mission is contributing to feeding the world by getting the utmost out of seed. Our solutions support the huge efforts of seed companies, breeders, growers, and farmers to decrease the use of chemicals and water and to minimize seed waste. Getting the utmost out of seed is what makes us proud. We select, protect, and improve, implementing and combining techniques and technologies, giving precious seed the maximum protection and support it needs. Our motives enhance the shape and size of the seed, flowability and sowability. With bright colors, we add value and increase visibility in the field. Seeds not only have to grow, they need to be manageable during processing, packaging, storing, transport, and sowing. We make sure that the actives and additives applied to the seed stay on the seed, minimizing dust off. This means a safer workplace and high-quality output. We are not easily satisfied, so we keep on testing and testing. Nowadays, consumers want food that is grown in an even more sustainable way, a major challenge for the seed industry all over the world. As the specialist in seed enhancement, we focus on the application of new, beneficial biologicals to seed. We always look for the most sustainable solutions that help our customers achieve their goals. It's related to the way we think and develop. We are Incotech. Our nature is to help you grow.
Yeah, I think that's over. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. The topic is now open for discussion. Please press the raise your hand icon or post your queries in the chat box. Shankaran sir, please. Shankaran sir. Sir, I have a question not related to this topic. So you are a plant breeder like me. What made you switch over to seed technology, sir? I read briefly, but I don't recall the correct issue why you switched over to seed technology.
See, plant breeding, as you might be knowing, when you do a plant breeding master degree, then as a part of curriculum, there is webinars need to be present in front of your professor and scientists. So I took plant breeding as a major subject, and my minor subject was seed technology. So I took my seminars on seed technology, and that was in 95, 96, where I chose this topic of seed film coating. And then it was, not about seed treatment, but to give something new. And then I came across Incotech. So, and then since then, after seeing the colorful seeds, I couldn't stop myself. And I started deep down investigation, how it works and what's value addition there. So basically, it doesn't give me a chance as a plant breeder to do any breeding in the field. But then my focus was on seed technology, and then started studying more and more. And finally, I ended up with a couple of training in Netherlands, and then a lot of things learning from Incotech. And also within the university, we were having a good library, which brings me to better expertise. So I think being a plant breeder, the good part is at least you know the seeds well, and then you can play very well around the seeds.
Yes, sir. So I think there is a seed technologist in every seed plant breeder.
Yes.
So my decision to shift to seed technology was not.
No, that's a right decision.
Thank you, sir.
I think Sankaran Saab is there. So please.
Shankaran sir. Shankaran sir, I think he's having some connectivity issues, sir.
No, I think he's on the mute. He may need to remove the mute.
Shankaran sir, please unmute yourself, sir. Anyone else with queries? Sir, at any point of time, you had no regret that you were a plant breeder, you could have done something and developed some varieties?
No, that's always fun. But still, you can keep your good connectivity with the field. Because once you do anything around the seeds, then you really need to understand how the seed getting influence for germination and initial plant stems.
Yes. Anyone else? Please raise your queries, sir. I don't know the name. It is coming as import-export.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
So it was really nice talk. It was really nice to hear you. I have one question.
Yeah.
I would like to ask that if we have a lot of seed of, say, okra, and if we are selling it in the market, okay, is there any technology to know that there are some off-type seeds within the original seeds? Can this be done just by the physical purity checking or by any of the technology?
For a hybrid okra, I think if there is a difference in phenotype of the seeds between male and female, and if you analyze really closely with certain image-based solutions, then I think it's possible. As of now, there is no commercial solution available which can separate off-type seeds from the hybrid seed lots. But yes, sometime, for example, if your hybrid has a one density and your male and female has a different density, then through density separation you can remove. That's normally we do in a brassica. Brassica, it's very much possible because in a brassica the seed size of male and female differs from the hybrid seed size. So that's where I think you can remove the off-types. But for okra, so far I have not seen such a variation in seed size. But from external structure of the seeds, and as I said, image-based analysis are available. Those solutions are available in the market. And I think a couple of companies are working on it to develop a non-destructive method of genetic purity, where you can identify the off-type seeds from any given hybrid seed lots.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
May I talk now? Am I audible?
Yes.
Am
Yes.
I audible?
Yes. Audible.
Am I audible? Good evening, Dr. Manish. How are you?
Very well. Very
I hear
well.
you. I have just a couple of points.
Yeah, please.
One, I will list them all simultaneously so that if the net connection goes away, I don't get disappointed. The first one is on the liquid density separation. If water is involved in the liquid density separation, then we have a problem of drying the seed afterwards.
Yeah.
And that is number one. If water is not involved, maybe then with some kind of a solvent, some kind of a liquid which is quickly evaporating so that we don't have the drying issue. The second point is the storability of primed seeds. Whether the primed seeds have to be sown immediately or within a couple of days or so, or is it possible to store them again for use? The third point is in the polymer application, occasionally we have seen, may not be coated polymer, but generally the polymer available in the market, some of them, they delay the imbibition process. When seed is sown, then the polymer coated seed doesn't sprout that fast. So these are the three issues which I thought I will list out, and I'm sure you will be the right person to give some kind of a answer for this. Thank you so much, Dr. Manish. Nice to see you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sankaran. I'm happy to see you at this, age also to be so active and participating in such webinars.
Sure.
And I think the questions which you have raised, let me reply on those questions first. So first question related to water-based upgrading, where you separate the seeds by dipping the seed lot into the water. This is basically a quite common technique in cotton, so far as my knowledge is, and it's very common in the cotton seeds to separate seeds based water grading, and it was being followed by many companies in the past. And seed drying is normally by sun drying. Sun is not an issue within India, but when you think about large volume, it's a challenge. You cannot really control the moisture in a way you want. So I think, and again, water has a limitation because water is a one density, so you cannot have much different density layer separation using water. But when you use solvent, the benefit is solvent are highly volatile in nature, so it can go away into the air without much drying needs. And again, you can create a density difference very precisely in a solvent as compared to water. So water definitely can be used, but then you have to be very fast in separation, and again you really need to install a very good online dryer which can dry out the water. Otherwise, it will be risky. So for water, I think that's possible, and nowadays dryers are available in Indian market, and those dryers can be used. Second question on priming self-life. So priming is a quite sensitive technology, and it's not easy to wake up the embryo, let it grow inside your priming chamber, and then again to force the seeds for dormancy. It's a highly sensitive, and it needs a lot of scientific knowledge and very good infrastructure. Otherwise, you will end up with a disappointment. So self-life is directly connected with the technique you adopt, and also the precision you follow at priming. So nowadays, like in Incotec, so if I look at 10 years before and now, what is our claim? So 10 years before, I remember we were claiming once the seeds are primed, they need to be, sold down within 3 months' time. So 3 months was, I would say kind of a warranty or a guarantee of the shelf life. And then after the seed may start deteriorating. But now in the last decades, what development we have built in terms of innovation inside the company, our claim has gone up to 9 months to 12 months. So the shelf life is directly linked with, how safely you are doing the priming in the best possible way without giving any shocking to the embryo. So right now, there are protocols and the priming techniques available where 9 months to 12 months shelf life is not an issue. And after 9 to 12 months, basically shelf life will not drop down to 0. It will take another couple of months to slowly, degrading the germination speed and the count. So for any seed, so 9 months to 12 months is good enough.
Sorry, it is in condition store. I think the storage in normal store.
We have tested both, Dr. Sankaran, in a conditional storage and also in a combination of conditional, because when you think about seed, it has to go in a retail market for a couple of months, and then again, if it is not sold, it's come back. So we did, both the trial, and in our experience, up to 9 months, absolutely no issue. If few months seeds are out of ambient condition, in normal ambient condition, and few months in a cold room, still you can have a better shelf life after priming up to 9 months.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So
the polymers.
Yeah, and the third one about the polymers, basically, as I said, it's a polymer science, and nowadays a lot of water-soluble polymers are available. And again, it depends on your slurry components and combination of slurry, which includes pesticide, fungicide, and your polymers. Sometimes it interfere with your ambition process. So while developing, the coating recipe for every given crops, we have to really study this aspect, that how the particular species is getting imbibed, and what kind of different formulation of polymers are playing a role, especially to inhibit the germination. If there is no any effect of polymer in the applied slurry for a control seeds and the coated seeds, then you can say this is a possible, and commercially you can upscale that particular treatment. So when deciding any treatments, this kind of studies are very important. And if you do it without a small-scale trial, then you may bring a lot of challenge in the market.
True. All right. Thanks a lot, Dr. Manish. Yeah. Very nice. Nice to hear you again. Yeah, nice. Very good. Good of you.
Sir, there is a query by Dr. Sailesh Kabadia in the chat box, sir.
Let me check. So I'm Dr. Shailesh Kapadia, General Manager R&D from Gold King Biogen. Either my query is there any technique to identify dead seed in any lot of seeds in any crop? Okay, so the question is how to identify the dead seed in any given seed lot. Now, in a human being, it's very easy to identify live or dead. But
What was the question? Sorry, I couldn't hear.
Dr. Sakran, the question is from Dr. Shailesh Kapadia from Gold King Biogen company from Gujarat.
Okay.
Is actually asking how to identify dead seed within the seed lot.
Oh. Okay.
So, in a laboratory, when you do germination test, you can see the dead seed and live seed easily. But when you ask me for a commercial seed lots, I think it's a challenge. As I said earlier, there are techniques and technology under development which can look into the embryo, and based on the machine learning and artificial intelligence, basically these are the IT tools being used nowadays to develop a solution on seed sorting system. So it's very much possible in the future. As of now, commercially, if I say as an Incotech, in tomato, yes, we can say seed is live or dead, at least from X-ray images. And we have studied and we have analyzed a lot tomato embryos, and that's where our internal software knew whether such kind of embryo is live or dead. But that's only as of now in tomato. But if you are really looking for some other crops, then it's always through a special project we can develop such technology, because X-ray technology is available. You can look at embryo and you can identify whether embryo is live or dead through certain physical points or images. But right now, no any commercial technique available to identify such dead seeds in a commercial seed lots.
So, I'm Rosemary, and one thing I would like to ask is, because our region is very highly humid and we have a lot of rainfall and high temperature, that's Kerala. We have a lot of problem with respect to the field crop storage, especially the rice seeds, which is a high volume seed, as you know. And so what would you recommend? What would be, in your opinion, a recommendation or solution?
Dr. Rosemary, for your paddy seeds, do you have an issue with the storage pest, or it's an issue with your shelf life in terms of germination and vigor?
Yes, it's with germination and vigor as well as insect pest. It's a high humid.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because when the temperature is high and the high humidity, the weevils are very common to infect the seed lots. So for such kind of weevil control, basically, nowadays polymers are available with inbuilt repellents. So when you treat your seeds with such polymers which contains inbuilt repellent, then at least weevil infestation you can control from 9 months to 12 months. And it's a proven one, because in Indian market, it's already being used for more than a decade now. And when you really want to control deterioration of your germination and vigor ability, then I would say under this climate, the climate control room, storing the seeds in a climate control room is the only solution. And maybe...
But it's a very high volume crop. It is like tons and tons of seed. Yeah. That's rice seeds. That's
40,000 to 50,000 quintals at a time.
Yes.
But when I travel, across the Hyderabad region, I can see, and when I visit my clients, I can see a huge cold storage of 2,000 metric ton, 3,000 metric ton cold storage, and they are already using those cold storage for storing paddy seeds. So I think nowadays Government of India is offering a lot of infrastructure grant to build the cold room, and I think that's the only solution. Looking to its volume.
Paddy seed cannot bear the expenditure on that. The price of paddy seed, sale price, the farmer can't afford to.
Yeah.
Buy. That's the problem.
So apart from climate control rooms, another one, maybe to put in some moisture-proof packing or vacuum packing. Trials need to be done, because ultimately you have to cut off the seed climate from external climates, and for that there are some packaging materials available in the market which can control climate inside the bag. So limited options, but we have to find out the way. And Dr. Sankaran, as you said, rice is a cheap crop. But cold storage definitely consume a lot of energy. But nowadays, solar projects are available, solar panels. So solar panels and the cold room combination can bring the cost down.
That's right. That's possible. Yeah, I understand your point. Yes.
Yeah, it's a one-time investment, but your running expense, operating expense will be extremely low.
Otherwise, in the whole Kerala agroclimate, we should identify geographically most dry area, if at all. And in that area, we should store it. That.
So basically, I recall, my visits to Indonesia and Vietnam, which is almost same climate like Kerala, surrounded by water bodies. And when you are surrounded by water bodies, then it's always a challenge to, handle any kind of seeds. Not only about paddy, but whatever you do any treatment, after treatment also, removing moisture from seed coating is also a challenge. Because already climate area has a 75-80% moisture. It's a very specific dryer.
Hello, Manish. Good afternoon. This is Dr. Ravi from Dharwad.
Yes. Good to see
how are you, sir? How are you, sir?
Very well, very well.
It's nice to hear you again and again and refresh ourselves. The basic thing with all this value addition and cosmetic value addition, advantage of all this seed quality enhancement technique, and we are not able to find much of the seed that goes to the common sowing in the farmers in India with very few of these seed quality enhancement techniques or value additions. Only I think this is only for high value, only for hybrids, maybe only for, we know several advantages of these techniques, but they are not passed on to at a reasonable price and affordable price and technology available easily to handle at different places and make this advantage are passed on to the common farmer. What is your opinion? You are the master in this and you are carrying this legacy since so many years.
Yes, Dr. Ravi, that's the right observation because Indian seed market is operating at an extremely low value price. Basically, when I look at Indian seed price and versus global seed price, then I think we are at the bottom. And when your seed sell price is too low, you cannot afford, cost of technology. And that's the reason the adaptation at farmers level, adaptation at seed company level is in a slow mode. But still, there is a fantastic development in field crops, which is a huge volume. So if you look at currently, cotton, then I would say 99% cotton seeds are already film coated.
That's right.
Because that's the, hybrid, and again, there is a GMO. And after GMO, there was a revolution in the cotton price. So there was a room to adopt the technology and in a position to adopt the technology to bear the cost. So they adopted the technology. And that's why cotton market completely turned to, film coating. Then second, I would say maize and paddy, where I would say still 20-30% of volume is being film coated, and remaining volume is still without any treatment. Sometimes it's a powder treatment. But again, major challenge here is sales return, apart from costing. Because if seeds are not being sold in the market and company gets a huge sales return, then they don't keep it for the next year. They would like to liquidate the stock as a commodity. So once it is treated, then it's a challenge. So those are the challenges already there in the field crops. But in the vegetables, actually, film coating is very common in all hybrid vegetables. But pelleting and custing is step by step being adapted based on the need, and that's why I put one of the slides on strategy to adopt the technology and identifying the real need. For example, in cumin, we started working 7 years back, and now that's widely adopted on a few metric tons. Farmers are already sowing and enjoying the benefits of early sowing, early germination. And it's also a $2 a kilo crop, basically. But still, technology is playing a vital role. So it's all about identifying the local needs, understanding its value, and then to develop a solution within that cost range. Then only you can, commercially roll down.
How about the seed tapes, seed mats we hear sometimes in the European?
Central Sub, that's all about, I would say, precision farming concept. And those are even not getting successful in Europe and USA in the long run. Because nowadays, better sowing equipments are available, vacuum seed drills, and those seed drills are much higher precise for a planting. Earlier, when there was no mechanical solution available, I think at that time people were thinking to develop a seed tape Even at Incotech, we also had that solution in the past, then we stopped.
But by the way, I mean, your technologies, is it possible for extending them on a research basis to medicinal and aromatic plants? Because that is one sector. The seed technology is very poor in that medicinal and aromatic plant seeds. And therefore, I think some kind of a additional activity taking care of medicinal and aromatic plant seeds will be of some value at some stage. So you think it proper, maybe, especially we're on the center in Gujarat. There are got plenty of superior varieties, but they are not reaching the market. And seed technology aspect is also very less attended to there.
Yeah.
Maybe now that you have got so many technologies, gradually can we extend them to medicinal and aromatic plant seeds also, so that on a future date, at least the technology is available readily.
Yeah. So we are already offering a couple of solutions in other parts of the world in a couple of medicinal crops. For example, poppy. Poppy is one of the crops where we have a solution of priming and pelleting.
Okay.
So, scientifically it's proven that the technology which we have been rolling down in vegetables or field crops, the same technologies can be extended to other segments also. But then again, we have to look at the overall market potential and cost affordability at farmers level. But yes, in a couple of crops we have developed the solution, and we are already doing commercial business in a medicinal crops basically.
If possible, kindly take up Tulsi first for Indian situation. If possible, at some stage, you may like to.
Jute, actually, we had some trial with West Bengal's Jute Corporation, and then after, again...
Tulsi.
Basil. Yes, for a basil, that's possible. Nowadays, I think that, awareness is coming, and acreage, I think in Karnataka, that's growing very well, basil production.
Good. Thank you. Nice.
Yeah, it's possible to develop pellets for a basil especially.
Yeah. Nice to see Dr. Ravi also there.
Thank you, sir. Sir, how are you, sir?
Thank you so much. Nice. After a long
Very
time.
nice to see you. As Manish told, sir, we all remember you all the time.
Nice of you.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Thank you.
Seed is bringing us all together. Good.
Thanks to KAU.
Good. Yeah, KAU. Of course, yeah.
So any more questions from the students especially? So I think the students have digested very well all the presentation, all the slides.
So one student was interacting. I will just take 1 second. Kind of a problem. The age of the seed, how old it is, by look we cannot say. For all other biological items or even for the plant, tree, animal, insect, etc., we can say the age. But with seed, it's a mystery.
Yeah.
That's good.
Sir Shankaran sir, would you like to share something more?
Nothing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. If there are no more questions, I invite Dr. Rosemary Francis for her concluding remarks.
Thank you, Diji. I know on the outset, let me thank Dr. Ravi Hunje for giving us the opportunity and pointing out that Dr. Manish Patil is the right person to address this topic, and I'm sure his judgment has never failed. It has never failed us also. So thank you, sir. It was a very yeah. Ravi sir is online. I think I will invite him for a last minute talk too. A few sentences of a few inputs on his own. So before that, I will do a formal conclusion or wind up your
So let's give the remarks and then you can conclude them.
Okay, sure. Ravi sir.
Sir Ravi sir, please.
Yeah, please. Yeah, it was because of you we had such a good talk.
It is always nice to hear experienced practical person. Classrooms.
I think there's a problem with this.
To speak on top.
Okay, I think
that will be best. Manage the technology.
Yeah,
definitely done a good job best. I think with this thing I need any speaks on this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think half what you wanted to convey. There was a lot of break in what you wanted to convey. Anyway, we understand that you have appreciated Manish Patel sir for his talk. And formally, I would say that it was a very interesting and quite, a lot of information you have shared, Dr. Manish. And this has a lot of food for thought, I would say. And the interaction session, the question answer session, the length of it, I think it exceeded most other sessions that we had previously. That is a real good evidence that the topic was of great interest to all the audience. And thanks for the very lucid explanation of what seed designing a seed net, especially how we with clarity you have classified the physical and genetic designing, and how the physical designing again into external and internal designing. So this is the first time to tell you the truth, such a good classification I have come across, and it was really. I think we all will use it for our further teaching skills, teaching classes also. So it has been proved very useful, not only to the students, but also to teachers like us. Thank you for that information. And the takeaway is that we can bombard individual seeds with a lot of inputs, and be it hormones and additives or biological additives, so that you can upgrade them or improve their storage life and all performance later. So it's of course we have been learning the different techniques, the seed priming and the pelleting and all this. These were all actually to us at KAU. It was just on the periphery, but you have given us a lot of insights, and I think we can. It's a way we can further. Direct our research in future in that line, taking into consideration that each seed needs to be viewed in depth before we really go for such enhancement or designing. So thanks for that input, and also this splash and grow technique and all those and the ones that you mentioned are really new, and I think it is also new for the students who have attended, and all of us have really greatly benefited from this talk. Thank you so much for that, and I hope you will come up with a solution for the problem we face with high volume crops like paddy, especially in our region where we are experiencing a subtropical climate with a lot of rains and high temperature and humidity. So that's storage is a big problem here. And I hope your company would come up with some solution, and must be we could in future have a tie-up of trying it out in our area also with your help. with your interaction. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. As we move to the end of today's session, I welcome DG Bastian, Professor and Head, Department of Seed Science and Technology, to express the vote of thanks.
Gratitude is the attitude that determines your altitude. As the curtains on the 9th lecture in the webinar series hangs down, I deem it a great privilege to thank one and all gathered here. At the outset, I should say I am eternally indebted to Dr. Manish Patel sir for this nice lecture he had taken for us, and that too at I think relatively a shorter notice you have accepted this, sir. Thank you very much for that. And I'm equally grateful to Dr. Ravi Hunjay sir for pointing the right direction to have this presentation. Sir, thank you very much. I thank Dr. Shankaran sir for attending this seminar and being part of this discussions. It was very fruitful and nice to hear from stalwarts like you, sir. I'm really very grateful. I'm considered very fortunate to have this meeting of great minds here. I owe to my colleague, Dr. Rosemary Francis, Professor Plant Breeding, was the brain behind this webinar series. And she was the one who selected all these wide range of topics and tried to get all the experts. So I thank her wholeheartedly for this support extended to me. And I also thank my colleague, Ms. Fahida. She's also a plant breeder again. And she was shouldering the responsibilities of running this show and organizing everything. Thank you very much, Fahida. My students, the past as well as the present students, are the backbone of this department. And they always do all the extra works allotted to them without any remorse or any hatred, despite being in some pressure cooker situations. So I owe it to my students, Ms. Ruth Olivia, Ms. Neha, Ms. Vaishnavi, Mr. Vaishak, for shouldering all the additional responsibilities whichever is thrown to them. Thank you very much. You make the department. You are the department. Last but never the least, I would like to thank all the participants for their lively discussions, suggestions, and I would like to add that this lecture is available in the YouTube. So anytime you can go back and go to the presentations. And I think in the chat box, our Manish Patel sir has shared his email also. So you can have further discussions with sir there. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Dr. Rosemary Francis?
Yes, DJ?
I think.
Yeah, thank you.